Hey, everybody, and thank you very much for joining us for the 124th week of the Free Assange Vigil. My name is Andrew Smith. With me tonight is co-host Misty Winston and a bunch of wonderful guests. Kendra with the Denver crew. We have Emma with a bunch of different organizations, a photographer, currently writing with the
World Council for Health.
World Council for Health.
Yeah. I just interviewed her today. It's on Facts.
She's the coolest person on Twitter.
That's possible. That's possible.
Everybody knows Magnus, but Magnus is with us as well. And then we have Derrick Broze joining us with the Conscious Resistance and recently wrapped up Activation Tour. Before we dive into it, I do want to run through the numbers for the day, though, because it is 4,000 days of illegal and arbitrary detention for Julian Assange. We have 964 days since the WikiLeaks founder was trafficked from the Ecuadorian embassy after being sold to the U.S. and U.K. for a $4.2 billion loan from the International Monetary Fund to the nation of Ecuador. We have 325 days since Vanessa Baraitser's January 6 ruling denying Julian Assange bail after personally ordering his release and ruling no extradition in his case. We have 155 days of inhumane pretrial detention for the alleged Vault 7 whistleblower Joshua Schultz. And at least 1,149 of those days have been spent under special administrative measures. We have 963 days since the political persecution of Olabini started at the hands of the Ecuadorian government. We have 174 days since Commander X was illegally taken from Mexico in rendition to the United States. And I believe his next court date is January 11th. We have 123 days since Daniel Hale pled guilty to a single act under the Espionage Act, or a single charge under the Espionage Act. And it has been 39 days since he was transferred to the Communications Management Unit in the United States Penitentiary Marion in Southern Illinois. We have 125 days of detention served by Craig Murray for the crime of publishing in the United Kingdom, and 4 days until he celebrates his release. We have 57 days of detention served so far by Jeffrey Donziger, marking the first corporate prosecution in U.S. history. We have 3 days since whistleblower Reality Winner was released after over 4 years of incarceration. We have 625 days of freedom for Chelsea Manning. We have 274 days of freedom for Jeremy Hammond. Wow. How are you today, Misty?
That's a lot of numbers.
It is.
It's a lot. Like, there's a lot of really just shitty. I mean, it's a lot. And there's today's 4,000 of illegal and arbitrary detention, correct? Mm-hmm. And then when you also said it was the 124th week of Action for Assange, I was like, oh, that's a lot.
Wow.
And again, we shouldn't even be here, right? We say it all the time. Thanks, good Kevin. We shouldn't even be here. It's crazy how long it's been, right?
Yeah. No, it should have been something that none of us even have to do at this point. Like, every piece of evidence the U.S. has been debunked. All of the health officials have basically said, like, no, don't do this. They can't even prove that it was Julian that even talked to Chelsea for there even to try to be a computer conspiracy charge. But yeah,
I know, dude, over the past 8 months, whatever, like they didn't even really have a case. Let's be real. If we're being objective, they just never had a case. What he did was journalism. But then like the Siggy stuff comes out and the CIA plots come out and it's like, we're still here. He's still in prison.
Even the do-over, they lost the do-over.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
I was say, like, if there was an honest judge in this world, the fact that the U.S. government felt comfortable enough to go to the press and be like, well, even if we fail this time, we'll trial him again. I would be like, get out of the room. If there, if there was a good judge in the world.
Free Alex Saab too. Yes. We should add that, like, probably.
You're admitting to the press that you're willing to just double jeopardy this man forever. It's like, okay, this is obviously not like a genuine, honest trial. We can just move on with our lives, please.
No. Oh my God. It couldn't be more clear. It couldn't be more clear that this is not like a normal, just, legal, this is revenge. And threats.
Right. And that's not even going into attempting to assassinate him or anything else,
right.
just on the face of admitting you're going to keep trialing him until you get the judgment you want. It's like, all right, we're shutting it down.
So
nice try, CIA.
You've done a lot of really cool work here in the last few months. You did a really awesome tour of the U.S. I didn't get to attend any of the events, but I watched the one that Jason Burmish streamed in Iowa, and you guys covered a really huge range of topics, everything from like literal alternative technologies to what we have now for communication methods to the way to literally just build alternative what am I looking for? Economic systems. So could you talk a little bit about the work that you've been doing around the country and with your own platform that you have?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. So as far as the tour was called the Activation Tour. Anybody who wants to see some of the highlights can check it out at activationtour.org. We've got like weekly tour highlight videos. But basically, we did a 29-city tour, myself and my partner Miriam. We toured the U.S. for 2 months, and every city we visited, we were doing kind of a combination event. Usually during the day, we did what we were calling community action days, where we were coming to the city, and we could be volunteering at urban farms or community gardens, working with the houseless population, cleaning up parks, cleaning up beaches, sometimes going out and just passing out flyers about COVID or doing marches and rallies. It was pretty much dependent on the communities. Like every city we visited, we were working with local volunteers who helped us coordinate the community action day side of things. And then in the evenings, we had the main event where Miriam would lead a guided meditation and give a talk about, mental health really and spiritual health. And sometimes we had some different friends with us on the tour, like you mentioned, Jason Burmis. We had Mark Passio at One Stop, Ryan Christian of Last American Vagabond, and different people from different activists and joining on parts of the tour. And then I gave a presentation called "This is what we're facing, and this is what we can do about it," which is very much solutions oriented. And then I performed some of my music. I performed music under the name 33, like some I don't like to call it conscious or truth hip hop, but I guess it is to some extent. And and so we did that 29 cities, 8 weeks around the country, and it was pretty epic. Like everywhere we went. This is the third tour I've done, and if I haven't done it in 3 years, and this was much bigger. I think there's a lot more people ready for this message. I mean, the message I was sharing is pretty much the same message that I've shared through my work for anybody who's paid attention for years, which is agorism, counter economics, getting out of the system, building parallel networks, opting out of the systems. I wrote a book in late 2019, published in early 2020 called How to Opt Out of the Technocratic State. And a lot of what I was focusing on was about that, building freedom cells, local mutual aid groups, getting out of the banking system, getting off big tech, getting out of the food production system, all that, just trying to build counter networks. And the message has been the same, but it seemed like once COVID happened, there was actually finally people felt threatened. So they decided it's time to focus on solutions instead of just, talking about the problems all the time. So we saw this huge exponential growth from like a couple thousand people on our website to over 29,000 now people around the world, people organizing just totally decentralized, freedom cells via Telegram and our website. I mean, really big in Australia, India, growing. Since I've moved to Mexico the last year and a half, we've got like 15 different freedom cells in different cities, forming both expats, English-speaking folks, as well as Mexicans, like native Mexicans, Spanish-speaking. And so it's been really beautiful to see that. And we kind of saw that on the tour, that people were just hungry for solutions. I think on average, our crowd was 70 to 80, 90 people. And then in like San Francisco Bay Area, we had up to 150 people there. And, it was pretty consistent around the country. And it was cool to see because it was like, you got some maybe people who supported Trump or used to support Trump. You got people who are like, oh, I'm a Democrat, but I don't fit in with these people, or I'm a progressive and I don't line up with these people, or I'm apolitical, or I'm an anarchist, or whatever. And every night I would ask, what's the age range? We had 94 years old to 5 months old. We had every skin color you can think of, every ethnicity you can think of, just like true like diversity, not the fake BS they try to feed us, and it was really cool and kind of, I think, humbling, but really like inspiring for me to like, okay, it's actually happening. These concepts are catching on. It's not just an idea in my head or in my books or in, obviously I'm not the only one promoting decentralized organizing, but just to see it take off, it was really beautiful. And so the tour was a success, and we're going to do another one in the spring, probably, I'm not sure when yet, but we're also planning one down here in Mexico as well, like February. So.
Yeah, I think you're right, though. I think COVID has I think that's been a push for a lot of people, because there was I think a lot of people knew what was going on. But it's a hard thing to like really grasp, I think. And so COVID, I think, pushed a lot of people into recognizing how fucked up things are, and we're going to have to start organizing outside of systems. We don't really have much choice.
Yeah. And it's it's scary because for some people, because it's not like you're just telling people go vote for this person or just donate to this lawsuit or just sign this petition, right? Something where they feel like, okay, I did my part. Now, it's over or whatever. I'll just wait. You're like, hey, you might have to, like, the message I was preaching was very much, this is not easy. You might have to change your lifestyle. You might have to quit your job. You might have to work with people you never thought you could work with. You might have to learn a new skill. You might have to be uncomfortable, and you need to push past all that if you want to stay free with everything we're facing. Like, you got it. And it was cool to see people are using our platform and just other, the internet in general to find each other now. But specifically on the Freedom Cells website, freedomcells.org, we have 2 maps, a member map and a cell map. And so people can join, create a free profile, add their location to their town or whatever, and then search on the maps and find people near them. And so last year, people were feeling really alone, and they're using the website or the Telegram cells that we've created, which there's literally thousands of them now at this point that we can't even keep up with, who's creating the cell and what they're doing with it. But people were saying like, oh, last year we all found each other through Freedom Cells or through Telegram. And now we're buying land together. We're growing food together. We're pulling our kids out of school together. We're pulling our money out of the banks, like real, tangible, actionable steps. And to me, that's the only thing that's going to move the ball forward.
Did you see a lot of support for Assange amongst the different people that were on this, that came to your events?
Yeah, actually, I don't know where it's at right now, but actually the very first stop of the tour, there was a woman who was like super, Assange supporter, and she gave us a copy of like the old school books, like WikiLeaks story, and the other one about when Google met WikiLeaks. She like gave them to us as a gift, and was just, talking about how much she supported Assange, of course, and was just disgusted by everything going on. So yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely something that's still prevalent on a lot of activists' minds, which I think also just sort of in a broader view, things like that are why people are losing faith in the systems, right? Because they're just like, look what the heck they're doing. Like, why should I trust anything that these people say? Why should I believe there's going to be real justice or anything? I want to get away from that. I don't want to be stuck in that system,
One thing I was thinking about is that I know that you had mentioned that it's just people are more open to the ideas now. And I think I've definitely seen that running a Assange group as well, just that we've seen people a lot more open, and also from this group for medical freedom of choice and things like this, because they're experiencing this censorship firsthand, and sometimes it seems like, well, where is it coming from? Maybe it's the first time they've really experienced or been open to this and seen this happen right in front of them. And so I know we've had a lot more success with that, but one thing that I know scares me, and I'd love to hear what the rest of everybody else has to say about it, is that this, verdict is coming down soon, and still it's, we need this to catch on a lot more, because we're, if Assange is extradited, we're looking at him being under SAMS, and then, that's once that is by letter of the law set into precedent, where does that leave us to gather together?
Oh, if they do it to him, they're going to do it to all of us. I
Well,
mean,
we
that's
already have the first domestic public prosecution going on with Project Veritas. Like, not that the WikiLeaks one shouldn't have happened, but the Project Veritas one happening right now shouldn't be going on. And it took
none of
them
that
a
shit should be
decade.
happening.
Yeah, it took them a decade to arrest Julian. And how long is it before James O'Keefe gets snatched up?
Oh, not
right?
long now. Once
Right.
that's what I
But,
think.
but he's just a far right extremist, though.
Right.
Yeah. That's exactly what he's probably a literal Nazi.
Yeah, who
every
cares about
time a
them?
journalist
Everybody.
gets snagged, the rapid cope starts coming out.
Yes.
Regardless of who. They did the same thing to Daniel Baker when he got arrested. Of like, you saw a lot of the I don't know, alternative left, as I'll call them, the shit libs, being like, well, Daniel Baker crossed the line. And it's like, this is your guy. This is an anti-fascist activist. And he just got thrown in jail for a Facebook post. And the first thing you do is distance yourself and excuse the FBI. Like, and so it doesn't even matter how like far into the circle you are. They don't care.
That people are like cheering the FBI. It's a
strange
farce.
time.
It's a really weird time. It's kind of mind blowing on some days. Like it's really a lot to process when I see people cheering the FBI on, and like totally willingly ratting out their neighbors. The FBI has the best facial recognition software on planet Earth. They don't need you to call them up and tell them who was at the January 6th rally. They can figure that out. You certainly don't need to be snitching. You know what I'm saying? Jesus. And that's the thing that's happening. And it's a lot of people who, as Magna said, will proclaim to be left and anti-establishment. What? ACAB until it's Trump supporters, right?
I want to mention something, if it's okay, real quick. I saw this article the other day. I don't know if you guys came across it, and I don't really know much about the outlet, so if they're trash, forgive me. But it was interesting article, nonetheless. And it was, what is it called? The Left's COVID Failure. That's what it was, and it's from unheard.com, UNHERD. But it's written by two guys. I don't know anything about them again, but they're pretty much writing from the perspective of like, hey, we are classic leftist liberals, whatever they identify as, and they're just kind of saying like, why is there this huge silence for, like right here it says, left-wing commentators usually so vocal in the defense of minorities suffering from discrimination are now notable for their silence in relation to the lockdown strategy and just how it's affecting the poorest among us and all those kinds of things. But it was a really good piece that I doubt the people who need to hear it will read, but it says something that I think is so relevant right now. Obviously there's hypocrisy in the left and right to go around all over, but I think that's just been something that's been on my mind, because you bring up how people are like supporting the FBI now or supporting Big Pharma or whatever the case is, and it's not the first time I've seen the political machine just flip people's logic and principles and turn them upside down, inside out. But it is just, I hope somebody's studying this like with like a psychological experiment, just so we can get the results down the line and like, this is how it all worked, right? Because it's crazy.
Yeah.
Will you drop that link for that article in the private, in the group chat thing on here, and I can drop it in the chat for the audience?
Yes, you had that video.
A publication like the World Socialist website that like builds themselves as like the staple of workers and the heartbeat of anyone that has a job that hates their boss. And they've done great work reporting on Julian's case. Like I don't want this to seem like I'm trying to like drag them, but they literally like fell for the World Economic Forum's traps. Like everything they think to a T is what the World Economic Forum said they're going to try to make people think. And when you actually engage with those people in that process, it's not about medicine or health or anything. It's about internationalism and having there be just one governing body responsible for the choices of the entire world. And they say it's going to be this golden socialist utopia, just shut up and take your shot, when not ignoring, but putting that before any other issue, where you have the minority communities in most major cities saying like, no, we're not doing this. And it's literally turning into them being the ones now excluded from society.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the worst example we saw of that was that the video that came out from, I think it was like the international Native people like group or something like that, and of a bunch of like Aboriginal Australians that came together and were like, hey, this is awful. They're literally coming into like our lands, into our reservations, and pulling people out and putting them in camps and charging them $2,000 a day to stay there. This is horrible. And a bunch of like liberal college kids came out flying anti-fascist flags and protested them. And it was weird because on one side you had all white socialists. I'll put that in big because I do not consider these people left to any degree. They're absurd. And then on the right you had like Aboriginal Australians flying like original ethnic flags and stuff, and they were calling them Nazis. I was like,
yeah, can I bitch about that with you for a second, dude? That's, I mean, I want to say that just so as somebody who, I'll just pull this card, like I'm Native on both sides of my family, right? And it's something that I've been getting more and more connected to over the last years as an activist, and especially starting with like using my journalism to highlight like the fight against copper mines in Arizona by the San Carlos Apache, obviously Standing Rock, and going and covering and connecting to different tribal nations, both in the US and then down here as well in Mexico, that it is just so disturbing to see the silence from Native Twitter, Indigenous Twitter over the last year. For one, a lot of the big, like kind of, let's say, thought leaders, people who did gain some clout after Standing Rock for being out there and, streaming and just, again, like kind of speaking the message, fell into the, well, Trump's so bad, we all got to support Biden. First of all, there was a lot of like native indigenous Twitter pushing Biden. And then now there's like a lot of them really embracing the shots and everything. And then, yeah, what Magnus is talking about, this like SOS red alert from, the indigenous Aboriginal people of Australia is pretty much just being ignored by not only, I would say, people who like, okay, were typically left again, but even just the indigenous community itself, like, broadly speaking, especially I'll say in the US, North America, is just like blinders on about how, that particular issue. And I've been trying to, shake some trees and like, guys, like, don't you see, like, this is, you can go back into the history, of course, of Australia and the history of quarantine, specifically of indigenous people and all the atrocities that took place then. So it's just kind of like cycling back to that. And yeah, it sucks to just see that there's not really any kind of united front around that, like, to me,
it's not even that it's getting ignored either. Like, I'm actively called a
a
conspiracy
lot of people
theorist
who
when I talk about
want
it.
to say that they're allies to go. And
Your audio's breaking
sorry,
up a
I
little
cut out for a
bit.
second.
Yeah.
Yeah, you over there. We heard
You're
you
good now.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I've been seeing a lot, because I've been living in Minnesota, so I was close to Standing Rock. I went up there for that, and then we've had the Line 3 pipeline fight that's been huge in Minnesota too. And throughout all of that, there's been a lot of like anti-pipeline type of protests and stuff in the Twin Cities, and those are a lot of things that I got involved in heavily over the last few years. And so that's a lot of like the kinds of people that I follow on social media and friends that I have, and it's just been really wild to me to see all of those people just pretty much ignoring what's going on, or just completely towing the narrative that they shouldn't be. And now that we're seeing these examples, especially in Australia, of what's going on, it's like it couldn't be more in your face what's happening and how we need to be responding to this. And I think a lot of these people got looped into the narrative that they're in right now because they're generally the kinds of people who care about other people. So that's where they started from. They started from, okay, we have to help everybody. We all need to get vaccinated or do whatever. We're in it together. We're in it for each other, that kind of thing. And I think they just went so far with that. And because of that division with politics and not wanting to associate at all with anything that is right or Trump. And they just can't go there. And it's yeah.
It just broke my heart in a way, because I have a soft spot for New Zealand, and I read an article that was saying that there was a Proud Boy led, which is weird because it's New Zealand, Proud Boy led anti-lockdown protest, and I looked up videos of it, and you have people doing the haka.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I saw
what
that.
the fuck are you talking
The
about?
lockdown protests are, they keep trying to paint all of those as far right, and they're not far right. It's thousands of people in the streets of, Amsterdam and all over the place. It's all over the world, especially Europe and Australia, New Zealand.
Especially with like the ACAB crowd, because I lost my mind when they opened fire on lockdown protesters in the Netherlands and killed 2 of them.
Yeah. And where is everybody? Where's the outrage about the way that the police
Even the U.S., like, our police is awful, but there's never been an instance of them using live rounds on BLM protesters. So you think everybody would lose their mind about that? Yeah, not yet. Very important. Not yet. But again, silence. And I had people even argue with me like, nobody died, he was just injured. And I'm like, 1, that's not true, and 2, you have ACAB in your bio. Why are you trying to minimize the police shooting peaceful protesters?
Right.
What the fuck is going on?
So I hate saying this because it makes some people feel uncomfortable, but the original Antifa, if you look back in history, it was used in Nazi Germany as a way to attack protesters that were out there for legitimate reasons. And not that it is or isn't the same, but the way that it's being used and deployed across the United States, or people are taking that banner up, I guess, and across the world, is very similar to that, where you have people standing up for human rights, and then you have this supposed anti-statist group in support of the state against the people standing against it.
Yeah, you have them flying the anarcho-communist flag, and I feel like Bakunin is just spinning in his grave to where you could power the earth off
I've
of it.
had
It's
people who have
horrifying
told
to
me that they're say that they're almost authoritarian, and then also have ACAB in their bio, and I'm like, you don't make sense. Like, that's not a thing that exists.
I put out a call on Twitter. I'm like, we have to find an actual ideological description for these people. because
Well, I
despite
think
how
it's
much
just like-
red paint they cover themselves in, they're not
Mhm.
socialist or communist in any definition. This is like this.
This is why I hate labels. Period.
Right. That's
I
I
think
use
they're
that.
just fashionable. I
Right.
mean,
Yes.
I think that would be
I
the
use the,
word.
Yes. That's why I call them hipster liberals.
Yeah, I use the example of like this would be like if you went back to the 1900s and the Socialist League was sending people to beat up coal mining strikers. Like that's what we're watching right now. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, this is why I hate labels though, because they're always used to co-opt and
Fashionable
divide.
labels.
Yeah,
Always on the winning team.
that's kind of what it is.
That's
Yeah, but to
like-
be all ACAB and then like be cheering on lockdowns is I just want some consistency, just a little, just try a
Right.
little.
And like you don't have to be against it. Like the best example I saw was this one guy. I think he's like anarcho philosophy or something like that. He's a big anarcho communist account, and he got in a lot of trouble because he's like, we should be going into like minority communities and like teaching them about the vaccines and countering vaccine propaganda and whatever, but we should not be on the side of the state, and we should not be beating up people that are protesting lockdowns. And I'm like, that's the sensible argument. That's like, even though I disagree with the argument that a lot of this is misinformation,
yeah,
that's the sensible argument. And he got dragged so hard for it. He's just like a 30,000 following guy that just reads like anarcho-communist literature on his Twitter, and he got attacked for it. And it's like, what the hell?
yeah. You can't. There's no nuance. Nuance is dead. It is dead. You cannot have like if there's an emotionally driven issue, you cannot have a reasonable conversation with most people ever. They
So-
can't see clearly.
Can I play? It's about 6 minutes. Stella's statements at the Belmarsh Tribunal.
If you want
for
to,
all
yeah.
of us? Yeah, I think it's a really cool. Just while we're all here, because I'd like to talk about it, because it's. I don't know, kind of
Ooh,
like the
somebody,
Senate-
hold on. Somebody said, I got to write this down real quick. Somebody said that somebody's getting ready to publish. So the missing and murdered Indigenous women thing is something that I really would love to see more of.
Yes.
I've done a couple, but like I would love to see more of that.
It's just a thing that's been going on that nobody talks about forever.
Yeah, it's like a dirty
And
little
it's-
secret.
It's wild. I mean, even with finally the let's call them what they
schools.
are, re-education
Yeah.
schools finally being talked about. The
That's I think it needs to be tied in. Like we
Yeah.
need to do a push on that because I think we can tie it in very easily.
because even on the reservations in northern Michigan, where it's not nearly as remote as the other ones, there was still instances of kids just like disappearing into the ether and no one ever knowing what happened to them, and they're like, okay, we just move on, I guess.
Yeah.
But I got
Alright,
that
Andrew.
ready, Misty.
Oh, sorry, I had to scroll up again.
So
I
for
don't know
people
why it
who
comes up
don't
in the
know, there
top.
was right before Julian's last court hearing, there was a essentially a tribunal of people bringing forward the crimes that have been committed against Julian and in and around his case. We featured a couple of the different speakers on here. Some of them have been guests. This week, I just wanted to highlight the words of Stella Morris, Julian's partner. So I'm gonna.
We are coming back here to Westminster, and our next member of the tribunal is the
Can everybody hear
partner
it okay?
of Julian Assange and member of his defense team, Stella Morris. Thanks a lot for being today with us.
Thank you. We're meeting 5 days before before the U.S. appeal at the High Court here in London. And I want to remind everyone that Julian won the case on January 4th, and the Trump administration, 2 days before leaving office, lodged the appeal. And Julian's bail application was refused, so he's been in prison, in Belmarsh prison, for over 2.5 years. And we're meeting in this building where the UN met to construct an international rules-based order, one that was founded and centered around human rights. And we're meeting here to denounce the dismantlement of that international rules-based order, a departure from human rights. And that departure is Julian's case is emblematic of that departure. And having lived through what has been done to Julian, I especially have a responsibility to try to make this situation understandable and interpretable to everyone else, because it matters to everyone else. Because what's being done to Julian, his rights that are being violated, they're your rights too. And if he loses this, we all lose. Um, so Julian's, what's being done to Julian is part of a continuum that started with the War on Terror, chipping away at individual rights and freedoms. The Extradition Act that is being used against Julian is actually a tool of the War on Terror. It was enacted in 2003 to make it easier to extradite people. And we have to see what is being done to him through the prism of the War on Terror, the tools that were developed through the War on Terror. Julian was the person who, in our generation, has done the most to expose the War on Terror. The War on Terror isn't just about illegal wars. It's not just about institutionalizing torture and rendition. It's about bringing home that dismantlement of our rights. Now, in the last few weeks, the mask has fallen in relation to the case against Julian. It's fallen because there was an article, well, it's been progressively falling over the years. There is no case, as others have said. This is just a naked political persecution. But there was an article published by Yahoo News just a few weeks ago, a 7,500-word investigation with over 30 sources, named and unnamed, high-level sources from current and past US administrations, from the National Security Council, from the CIA. And that story revealed that the extrajudicial assassination of Julian in London was discussed at the highest levels of the US government. That the 7th floor of the CIA in Langley, which is the director's office, requested sketches and options for how to kill Julian inside the Embassy of Ecuador. They talked about kidnapping him too, about rendition, extraordinary rendition, which is what the CIA developed to kidnap people and take them across jurisdictions, to disappear them and then put them in a black site somewhere. And the embassy was essentially a black site towards the end. I felt that anything could happen there. Julian's lawyers were targeted by name, not just incidentally spied on. There are emails telling the security company to target Gareth Pierce, to target Aitor Martinez, to target Julian's legal team. And their documents were stolen. And Baltasar Garzon's office was broken into, just as the CIA was planning to murder Julian. And our 6-month-old baby's nappy was instructed to be stolen so that they could use that, analyze the DNA to check whether Julian was the father. This is flagrant criminality. We're dealing with criminals who have instrumentalized the law, instrumentalized the extradition arrangements with this country and their good relationships with this country to politically persecute an innocent man, a journalist, for doing his job. It didn't start with Julian, and it's not going to end with Julian. This article, which I recommend everyone reads, said that in 2013, the US government was trying to classify Glenn Greenwald and Laura Poitras, and possibly Ewan McCaskill as well, as information brokers in order to treat them as national security threats. That same year, James Rosen from Fox News was described as a co-conspirator because of his dealings with his source at the State Department, who was convicted of espionage. This continuum that from the War on Terror, it's not just affecting Julian. It's exposed in the attempted reforms to the policing bill in this country, to the attempted reforms to the Official Secrets Act, to the attempted censorship of the internet. Julian's case is not some sui generis thing. It is emblematic of the society we live in, of the undermining of all our freedoms. But we can win this. It's touch and go, but we can win this if we come together to defend our rights, defend Julian's rights, which is defending our own rights. And all the major human rights organizations, all the major press freedom organizations recognize this. They're all calling for Julian's freedom, because they can see that this is an attack on press freedom itself, on individual freedoms themselves. Julian is holding back the tide of authoritarianism. And if we win this, we can push back. But if we don't, we won't.
Thanks a lot.
Fam, hearing it all together like that, and she didn't even mention everything. She didn't mention UC Global. There was a lot she didn't mention of all the garbage he's been through. And just to hear it all out loud, doesn't it make you guys mad? It makes me mad that they're getting away with this. Oh, painful.
I just thought that was it's so true that this is just a continuation of the war on terror, you know? I mean, that was really well. I hadn't really thought about it honestly like that. So, but
Yeah, Stella is just impeccable, immaculate. I love her. She nails it every time, and I don't know, something about her comes across as really genuine to people. And I even want, like, whenever I attempt to convince people on this case, I just show them Stella speaking, and that seems to work more than anything. She's just
Stella
really
and Nils Melzer. That's my 1-2 punch.
Mm-hmm.
Edward Snowden's speech at the end of this is like bone chilling.
Yeah,
But
that was really good.
it's emblematic because what has happened, right? Like, they have destroyed the press that stood by the people. Like, most large institutional press organizations that actually defended human rights have been collapsed. Like, WikiLeaks has been attacked from every angle, and they still continue to publish. They just put out, I think it's been like 3 releases since Julian was taken to prison, but it's still not the same.
Imagine what they'd be doing.
To the point that they're able now to do what they're doing in the world with vaccinations and with the mandates. So it's horrifying, because you've even seen terms thrown around in the press and from like internationalists of like the post WikiLeaks era.
Which I don't like that, because that just makes it seem like the fight for Assange is over and we can just move on. I mean, that's probably not what people mean by that, but
Yeah.
I do like any form of defeatism on this case, because I get that from a lot of people of like, well, you know, I'm glad you're out here fighting for this, Magnus, but it kind of just seems like you're wasting your time. I even get that on the
I get that a lot.
Yeah, I get that on the Maxwell thing too. Even like why even bother talking about the Maxwell case? We all know how it's going to go.
He's dead. You might as well just forget about it. They're never going to let him go.
Free press, it really is. It's like
It's
all
not
about
about
you're fighting for yourself.
Yeah. And it doesn't stop with the fight for Julian either. A lot of people do that. Oh, what are you going to do? Like, if he gets out, then what? Well, the fight doesn't end there. Are you kidding me? There's still going to be attacks on powerful people. Don't want their secrets exposed. Period. They're never going to. As long as we have powerful people, they will be secrets. There will be secrets that we're going to have to expose. That's just a thing.
All the
you know,
whistleblowers, read that you got. We read. I'm so glad you increased those numbers there. But to your point, Misty, that's like so many people there to fight for that are wrongly
and
imprisoned.
that's not all of them.
Right,
that's
exactly.
Not even all. There's a lot. God, it's exhausting. But if you don't talk about all of them, you are a grifter or something. That's what I hear. Yeah. You have to talk about literally everybody, or you're a grifter. That's what
I think that like this. Obviously, Assange is a symptom of a bigger problem, and all the whistleblowers are, right. And it's like she was saying in the clip. It's the war on terror, it's rendition, it's all the stuff that still, I feel like the further, I mean, I was 16, 17 when 9/11 happened. And so, people being born, since then really have no kind of reference to how important that is. But I feel like, I mean, because I started waking up like 10, 11 years ago, right? 12 years ago. And the things I was learning about at that time, like say digging into JFK or other kind of crimes that were 20 years old at that point, right? It's just like, wow, this stuff's been going on for a long time, right? I feel like it's still so important to place everything that's happening in the context of like, this is what happened because of 9/11, the war on terror, like all of this stuff is, because WikiLeaks was right after that. And here we are 20 years later, still fighting, some of the same battles that have been going on even prior to 9/11. But yeah, it's just, I think it's so huge, and that's why people can get stuck in that defeatist mentality, because this is just the expansion of the terror state. You know, obviously now they're focusing on domestic terror, blah blah, whatever. But ultimately, it's that they have already given themselves these rights to lock you up if they say you violated this thing or that thing, and you know, then add on top of that the NDA 2012. You know, 10 years after 9/11. And that gives them the permission, according to them, to indefinitely detain any of us if they suspect us of whatever the heck they want to say, right? And basically throw away the key. So it's like all the same battles and everything we're seeing happen to Assange, whether on this land or elsewhere, is just war on terror, you know, nonsense that's just still terrorizing us, you know, the people. And yeah, so I think whether or not that reaches people or not, I think it's still important to place it in that context, because that's really what we're dealing with here is everything, all the lies of surrounding 9/11 and the buildup to the war on terror in Iraq and Afghanistan and all that. Obviously, you know, it's still hitting us right now.
Yeah.
So I know you don't have that much time left, Derrick. So I want to say thank you so much for taking time out of your holiday weekend to hang out with us. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
If you could let people know what events you have coming up, where they can find your work, and
Sure.
what they can do to support you.
Yeah, I appreciate all of you on this call. You guys are all doing great work in your own way, and good to connect with you guys here for a little bit. If anybody wants to just keep up with my work, like my journalism, my reports, all of my documentaries are downloadable for free, my books as well, at theconsciousresistance.com, theconsciousresistance.com. I'll plug a couple other things. My ongoing, we're about halfway done with a 16-part documentary series called The Pyramid of Power, which sort of piece by piece outlines a lot of the things that we're dealing with here. And tries to do it in little bite-sized chunks of 20 to 25 minutes without the fear porn, just the facts. And then, of course, every episode ends with solutions. And I'm really hoping that we have 8 episodes out now, and we're putting them out in seasons of 4 episodes at a time, that when it's all complete, that this will really be something that can be for the Netflix bingeable generation to just like, well, okay, just keep watching. And by the end of it, their whole life has changed, you know, like ideally, right? So that's at thepyramidofpower.net. And then as far as events, I would love for everybody who's tuned into this, who cares about solutions, to check out the Greater Reset, thegreaterreset.org. And this is, again, just the idea of like, we need to get out of their systems. It's a free to watch online event, and we have in-person events in Mexico and Texas. It's happening January 26th to the 30th of 2022. And 5 days, different themes, getting out of the economic system, building parallel networks, creating food independence, building free communities, taking back our technology, mental, physical, spiritual health, etc. So it's going to be 5 theme days of talks. We have RFK Jr., James Corbett, Catherine Austin Fitz, a bunch of other awesome people I can't think off the top of my head. But yeah, that's all at thegreaterreset.org. And as I said, anybody can watch for free. We encourage people to host local watch parties, whether that's for the whole thing or just find a day that is important in your community, gather people together, check out the talks. None of them are obsessing over COVID or this and that. You know, it's all about solutions for like 5 days just of solutions. And then, yeah, get the community together and figure out what ideas apply to your community and start to implement them. And I think it's just part of the overall movement that we were talking about in the beginning, where people are finally seeking solutions. So we're just trying to do our part to put out solutions and keep people focused on that, because I don't think any of this insanity is going anywhere anytime soon. But thank you guys for having me tonight.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for coming. It's been an honor.
We'd love to have you back anytime.
Absolutely. I'd love to come back. Thank you guys.
Yep. See ya.
Peace out.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to bounce too, but yeah.
Where can people go to support you?
Posters. Go get
avenues do you have
posters.
right
Yeah,
now?
that's all that's left, because
Go
I
get
just got banned off of
posters.
Twitter today.
Yeah,
that's
go get posters.
I make anarchy art and Julian Assange stuff at conspira-t.com/.
I'm gonna put it in the chat.
So you can go there. But I did kind of want to touch on that. I think a lot of things that need to be focused on right now is sort of the right-wing idea that the new wave of Republicans are so based and they're fighting for Assange and their freedom, and they're not like the boomer cons or whatever, to where, just like he mentioned before he left, the NDAA was passed again. And in fact, what was it? 132 Republicans voted for red flag law gun confiscation because they considered it so important to pass the NDAA. So they literally they valued the Obama era fucking domestic surveillance program over the Second Amendment that they run on all the time as like the most important thing in the world. So these people aren't your friends. Matt Gaetz is not your friend. Trump was not your friend. If you consider, and I feel like that's very important to hit on, especially if you do come from the right, if you are a conservative or something like that, and you do support Assange, to point out that these people are wolves in sheep clothing, and they will sell out your fundamental rights just for the ability to take others people's rights away. So be aware of that. And thanks for having me on. I love all y'all. I'm going to go back to trying to get my Twitter unsuspended and enjoy my break from the internet, I guess. So.
Thank you for joining us, buddy. It's great to see you again.
Magnus, if I put my phone number in the chat, can you send me a message? Because I'm in town and I was going to contact you on Twitter, and then I found out you were there. And then I was like, well, I think he did tell me where he lived. Would it be weird to show up at his house and be like, I'm sorry that you...
Bad idea.
Yeah,
right
that's probably a bad idea to just show up at Magnus's house, actually.
Especially the day after I was outside of a police station yelling at them for shooting people's dogs. Probably not a good idea.
I was like, well, it's dark outside. I should probably not.
It's not safe.
Oh yeah, but yeah, I'll take that. But
yeah.
Okay. Later, dude. Thank you.
Later.
That's funny.
Yeah, I'm actually like
safety first, Emma.
Literally minutes away from Magnus right now.
That's dope. Funny. I'm jealous.
Yeah. And then I thought, oh, should I get like a sympathy card and ask who on Twitter wants to sign it, and then bring it to Magnus, and then just show him and be like, I got this card for you from Twitter, and we're so sorry.
Does Hallmark make "I'm sorry you're banned on social media" cards? Like,
they have to. They should. Listen, Hallmark, give Andrew 3%. Give Andrew 3%.
We
take that idea and run with it.
Magnus's shop. You should be able to buy.
We should. I wonder if you can't, because there's like different. I used to. There was a company that you could like go in at the beginning of the year or whenever and like time birthday cards to different people, and so it was like an automatic service. And so if your grandma's birthday was, I don't know, May 12th, you could have a card sent out on like May 7th, and it was like an automatic thing. So you never forgot to send somebody birthday cards, and we could make cards. That would be fun.
That would be a good card, because that happens to everybody else. It can be like, sorry that it happened to you. And then it can be, congratulations, you're out of Facebook jail.
That'll be the ice cream fake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So stupid, you guys. Yeah. Dude, the censorship that's going on right now is out of control. Out of control. It is.
Yeah. I hate how it's so out of control, though, that it's happening so often that people are just. We've gotten to a point where people are accepting it, that in like
cheering it.
Yeah, they're cheering it, and then they're like, "Oh, it happened to me. Oh well, like it's just the way it is." There's not enough people getting upset anymore, which stinks, because it happens so often that. It's just the way of social media life
is now. When it happens to somebody they like or them. That's the only time that they care. And it's so, again, just a little bit of consistency would be nice. You know? Just a little bit.
No. I wanted to talk about Derrick still, even though he's gone. I went to 2 of his tour stops. The one when he was in town where I was, and it was really interesting. When he mentioned how he had a lot of different ages, a lot of different people from different backgrounds, especially politically, coming to his thing. And I think for me, that's kind of one of the coolest things to see when you see him on tour, is the sort of like strange collection of people that are there that aren't the kind of people that you would normally see together. And it was especially interesting for me because I live, I'm not there right now, but I live in the Twin Cities in Minnesota, which is where in 2020, the uprising after George Floyd was murdered began there. And I'm a photographer. And so I went out to everything every day, taking photos of what was happening. And there was a guy at Derrick's tour that sat, like an older guy who sat right in the front and was like totally tuned in. And he even meditated when Miriam did the meditation at the beginning. Like, this guy is so familiar to me. And when I got home, I went back through a bunch of my galleries and I found a bunch of pictures of him in some of like the more intense moments where there were BLM activists like facing off with like MAGA people and like really like yelling at each other. And he was one of the guys that had like a leather biker vest on that says like bikers for Trump and that kind of stuff, and like a Israel flag on his vest and all this stuff. And like he was at Derrick's tour in the front listening.
Really?
Yeah. And that was just like,
I am mind blown by that.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean,
as soon as I figured that out, I was like, because I had pictures, I took pictures at Derrick's thing, and I was like zooming in on the guy. I'm like, he's wearing the same shoes. This is the same guy. And
that's
like,
a weird,
Derrick,
like that's a hard. How do you hold those beliefs?
Yeah.
Like the stuff that Derrick talks about,
Mm-hmm.
and then be carrying around an
Yeah.
Israel flag.
And who knows, like
a different stage. Like everybody.
Yeah,
maybe
exactly.
like some
We'll all
epiphany.
reach the
That's
same
great.
Conclusion, like whatever it is, one day
Yeah.
we'll all get there. But
Yep.
Yeah, maybe he reached some epiphany, and if so, like, yay! I love that.
Yes.
I hope so. I really hope so. Ditch the Israel flag, fam.
Yeah.
A bad look.
It was weird. But
Shoes were they? You know, like were they? What kind of shoes did he have on?
were they sandy chinos?
Oh,
he's an older guy. Like they were just older guy shoes, you know, like
right.
ready
Like New
to,
Balance?
yeah,
New
that kind of
Okay.
style of shoe.
Okay.
I don't
Yeah.
remember what the brand was, but
that kind. Yeah, I know. As soon as you said older guy, I was like, New
Yeah,
Balance.
and I don't like to claim like these kind of things if I'm not like sure. So I was like getting pictures and like zooming in and side by siding the shoes and like things about his face, and I was asking people, I'm like, oh, this is the same person.
Yeah.
Can you verify that I'm
How
not
far
like
apart was
totally
it
wrong?
that you saw? So did you?
It was quite a while.
Okay.
It was,
So
it
maybe
was
he
quite
had
a
an
while.
epiphany. That would be amazing. If somebody knows who we're talking about, find that person because I want to talk to them.
Yeah.
Legitimately, I really do. I would like to interview that person and find out what causes you to go to both of those events in those ways.
And that's what's really cool about Derrick's message, I think, where he comes into it so just away from the political spectrum and not going into that. And he's like honest about that's we're above that. That's not what this is about. And coming in right now with like the more medical freedom kind of thing, he's gonna scoop up a lot of the people that have been typically on the right, and they see what's going on right now. It's a time for people like that to be really open to potentially hearing other things. If they hear how Derrick's like right on and with them and all these other things, it's an opportunity to listen to him on other topics and stuff too, which is really cool.
And that's why the left, I hate the left-right dynamic. I hate it, but the quote unquote left, that's why they actively push people away. You know, they have this smugness, and if you don't read the right books, or if you're guilty of wrongthink on one issue, they'll cancel you for a lifetime. And they like look down and like I get called a Nazi for being willing to talk to people like to the right of Bernie Sanders. That's ridiculous. And that's the kind of like arrogance that they have though. And they genuinely push people away. We are actively losing people to the farther right because
exactly
they're assholes.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And I don't know, I don't understand how they don't get that like of course we need to be open and we need to unite more. We need more people like it that just
especially
makes sense,
to people who are not like, they think seriously, I think that they believe that anybody to the right, like just to the right of Bernie Sanders, is a literal Nazi, because that's like I've never advocated for hanging out with Nazis or working with Nazis. I would probably be willing to have a conversation with a Nazi out of curiosity and just like, you know, I think that that's like a normal thing to be able to have a conversation with somebody. But like, I've never advocated for working with a Nazi ever. There's a lot of people in between Bernie Sanders and Nazis. There's like a whole.
I mean, it depends. It
bunch
depends
of
how you
people.
look at the spectrum, though. You know, because if you use like the classical version of the word progressive, it was like 1910 and 1920 white supremacist middle class eugenicists that wanted to implement a minimum wage to exclude minority labor from the workforce. And their literal only victory in society was the prohibition. That was a progressive victory back in the day, just as a fun piece of history.
But yeah, we lose a lot of people
we
who
do have
otherwise
good
agree with
news,
us.
though.
Huh?
We have two pieces of good news. We
Ooh,
have
good. I like
Reality
good news.
Winner
Oh yeah,
that just got out of jail.
and
or
she's
just got out of house
pissed.
arrest.
She is.
Ooh, and I love it. I love it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for accurately calling out The Intercept and not like lending credibility to them. Thank you, Reality. Seriously, I appreciate that on so many levels. If you are, I'm going to say it again. If you are a whistleblower or a potential whistleblower, stay the entire fuck away from The Intercept. Do not go anywhere near anybody, even almost affiliated with The Intercept, please. Please and thank you. And thank you to Reality Winner for speaking out about how awful they are. Big kudos. But yeah, she's hanging out in a CrossFit gym. Makes me happy because she looks happy. That's like her thing. CrossFit. I mean, I don't know. I think I would probably like CrossFit because I'm competitive, but I don't know. I've heard mixed things, but she loves
if
it.
you could do CrossFit without working out, like I'm down, but I don't think that's possible.
You could
I'll
just go
figure
like
it out.
cheer. You could go
They're
like
working
watch.
on it. Someone's working on it, Andy.
But
Oh, I
also
think you
Craig
can do
Murray-
that in the metaverse.
Oh, that's
think-
totally
There we
what the
go.
metaverse is.
Yeah, I
go.
think you can do that there.
I
There
like
you
that
go,
idea.
Andrew. Thanks, Zuckerberg. Way to go, dude. Fuck the metaverse.
Just 400 pounds in a virtual CrossFit gym.
No.
Feeling
Can
real
you
good about
imagine?
yourself.
Right.
But so also Craig Murray's getting out soon.
Yeah,
should
on
be
the
released
30th.
on Tuesday. I think
Yeah.
it is the 30th.
Yep.
It's soon.
Yeah.
They're gonna have a party.
It'll be 5 a.m. here in the United States, I
Mhm.
believe, 10 a.m. in the United Kingdom. So I'm
Yep.
pumped about that.
They're having a party outside the prison. They're going to welcome him outside. He's going to give a speech. There will probably be what does he drink again? Brandy? I forget. Scotch. Scotch, maybe. They
Yeah.
always get him a bottle of scotch or something. I think it's
We
scotch.
should do like a Scotch fundraiser for him.
We should get him like
Like-
a
like
really
buy
nice
Craig a
bottle. Yeah, we could get
Yeah.
him like a really nice bottle of something.
Well, no, I just mean like a GoFundMe and like have the theme like be buy him a drink like for when he gets out
Oh,
of jail to help raise money.
That's a great idea.
I'll totally set it up if you guys are down.
I'm
Yeah,
down.
do it.
That
Okay,
sounds
I'll
great.
do it. That sounds amazing.
That's a
actually.
nice way to say it, like to buy him a drink when
Yeah.
he gets out.
I'm
I
gonna do
love
it right
that.
now. So if I'm distracted, don't mind me.
Yeah.
Doing it live.
We are. Well, now I'm excited, so I want to do it right now.
I went, those are two things of good news. Recently, I went and joined Paula out in DC for the
Yeah.
one vigil in front of Merrick Garland's. And so that was good to go out and join her for that. It was, it's an interesting action. I'd be interested to hear what you guys think about it. I mean, I've been pretty supportive of it, or not pretty, very supportive of it from the beginning. I just think it's such a good idea.
I think it's badass. I think she's a
Mhm.
fucking superhero for holding that down.
Me
Yep.
too.
That's awesome.
Paula,
Yeah.
Yes.
she's fucking. I want to be her when I grow up. Like
Yeah.
she's amazing. I like. She's gonna be down there again in December. I would really like to go down.
December 11th. I'm gonna
yeah.
try. I'm like piss poor right now.
Well, it's just like my husband's
So,
work schedule is nuts, and my
yeah.
kids have school stuff, and so it's December's a hard month.
It is.
December's a
It's
hard
also
month.
very soon.
Yeah,
Very soon.
yeah. But I mean, it is only 6 hours for me, so well, a little over 6 hours. I've done boomerang trips before. It sucks. It's a lot of driving. I think I drove like 6.5 hours there. I was there for like 12 hours, and then I drove 6.5 hours back. That's a lot. That's a lot.
That's a
It's
lot.
really, yeah, that's a lot. So I would rather not have to do that, but I mean, I could potentially pull that off. But again, December sucks. It's hard. I got distracted again. Damn it.
And then you wanted to talk about your presentation, right, Kendra?
Yeah, that's why it was like, it was such it was a good month in that sense for October for us. And then in November, going out there to do that vigil with Paula. I think that's such an important thing. And I hope that I hope you will go out there. I hope that we can do a thing, where it stays what it is, which is really to make sure they know that we have that presence there, but I just see that be so neat if it stayed, a one person vigil, but that person changed every like 15 minutes. You know what I mean? Like something with like the We Are All Assange or anything like that. It'd just be so nice to have some more support there from DC. So I think that I'm hoping that it does catch on a little bit more. And I think that it's, even if it seems a little bit controversial, I think it's so.
I don't even think it's controversial. I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think there's any controversy in putting it in people's faces.
Not
Like,
in
I
a
think that's a
democracy,
very
there
like
shouldn't be.
necessary thing.
Yeah. But it's anyway, there was some good conversations, and either way it's known in the, there's a report done. And so that's important. Same thing for like, if we were somewhere else with an embassy or something like that. Like when we go to the UK embassy. But yeah, we gave a presentation at Liberty on the Rocks, and I have to say thank you again to Paula, because I asked her, you guys know how much great content there is out there for Julian Assange. There is, especially now, that it's hard to keep up, it's really, which is great news. So we did a presentation for Liberty on the Rocks, and it was good to get the whole picture of WikiLeaks together. It was why Julian Assange, and we just sort of went through the timeline and the history of WikiLeaks and into the indictment, and basically why is this still going on when the entire case has fallen apart, and it's clear that the reason it's going on, and this is one of many reasons in this way, but that because of what an excellent journalist he is actually, and because it really has nothing to do with those things. It has to do with our free press, and so that's what we're trying to do. Is I've got notes to that. Paula went through, helped me with some fact checks. So trying to get that to a place, and it's really close to share that with other activists. And that's what we're hoping to do. So if anybody, that watches this vigil, or you guys even, maybe sometime even in person in DC, I could talk to you about it, but are interested in that, we are happy to share that. You can email us at, Denver Action to Free JA, that's the number 2, to Free JA at protonmail.com. And we'd love to share that with people and do more kind of just teach-ins and presentations to different groups. And so that's like mainly what our group is gonna focus on, at least in this time coming up, is this outreach.
That's a really cool idea. What group was that with? You said it was Liberty on the Rocks?
Yeah, Liberty on the Rocks. So it's the Libertarian Party in Colorado, like a group of people from that, that meet, and it's a really neat group of people. The question and answer section was incredible. It was constant. So we actually, cut it off because we ran out of time. So I thought that was a great sign. And there was a lot of just smart people and good questions from the audience. But they meet, I want to say the first and third Wednesdays of every month, and do sort of like a happy hour and have a speaker. And they'll do a thing for the group there at the beginning where they have a soapbox, so people can come up and say whatever they want. So that's nice too. So knowing about that, obviously I will be up there saying things about Assange to come and visit. You have like a free platform there. But yeah.
So Emma, can you talk about the work that you're doing with the World Health Alliance?
Okay, the GoFundMe's up before you get started. The GoFundMe is live. I just tweeted it, and it's in the chat. Let's go.
I was just tweeting it too.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, I talked to Misty about that today, so maybe she can just
I don't want to steal your story here, girl, but there's a really cool new organization. We did just talk about it on Facts on the Ground today, and it's kind of like an answer to the WHO. And it's an alternative source for information, stuff that's getting censored, stuff you're not allowed to hear. They have an awesome collection of different doctors, scientists, researchers, who, it's just going to give everybody other ideas, voices, narratives on health information, which we can always use more of because we're being fed a load of horseshit.
Yes. So that was good. I guess I did a good job because you got it.
Yeah, I was paying attention.
Yes. and I must have made sense. But it's actually kind of cool to have talked to you about that today, and then have heard from Derrick, because he mentioned the thing that he's been doing called the Greater Reset, which is obviously in response to the Great Reset being a thing. And then that's happening, this one coming up in January is the third one now, how there's all of these things being created that are kind of mirroring something that already exists by the people that we don't really want to follow and listen to, and how powerful that can be. To, you have the Great Reset. Okay, so we made the Greater Reset.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got the World Health Organization. So now there's the World Council for Health. It's like a direct similar thing, yes,
Yeah.
to balance what they have and fill the void of what we're missing, of what that thing should be ideally. Like in a perfect world, these things would they'd be what we're trying to make now. There's a lot of things like that are popping up all over the place, like on all kinds of scales, from locally people being able to do new things with healthcare and connecting with each other in that way, to greater things that are like worldwide. So the World Council for Health is obviously a world thing. So there's representation of doctors and scientists from all across the world, which is really cool.
But you can only listen to doctors and scientists that personally reaffirm your preconceived ideas and your confirmation bias. That's the only, everybody, obviously, that's the only science you trust, is the stuff that directly agrees with the thing that the idea that you already have in your head.
Yeah, the other ones actually aren't doctors and scientists. They're just pretending.
Yes. And they're conspiracy theorists and far right wing. And yeah, we live in a cartoon, as Steve would say.
It's like everybody took that, you're already born knowing everything. Like people took that.
Yes. Y'all, like there are people, we talked about this earlier, so I feel like I'm repeating myself a bit because Emma's here and I feel like we're having the same conversation. Yeah. But like there are people who just are not, they're so wedded to their bullshit that they won't even, you can't even break through. Like there's no questioning anything. And it's weird because it's the same people, like we just said, it's the same people who not so long ago didn't trust establishment organizations, didn't trust corporations. We're saying things like, fuck the CIA and fuck big pharma
especially.
And now all of a sudden it's you have to trust.
Saying abolish the CIA lately.
Yes, and the JFK, CIA killed JFK was trending on Twitter. It was amazing. It didn't happen for long. They stopped that pretty quick, but it was trending on Twitter for a little while. And I'm like, see, okay. Somebody tried to say it was because some troll tried to get it trending, but I think that if people are willing to tweet it, that's fine.
However it happens.
Yeah, because and you have what's his face, Oliver Stone's new film that just came out. Anya Parampil just did a great interview with him on her show. And so
the only way it is unethical to make something trend is when you are in an environment where the trends aren't artificial to begin with, right? Like all of these social media platforms game the fuck out of the system. Mm-hmm. Like they have everything built against us, to the point that like us all the way through Project Veritas and other actual huge publications, We Are Change, Slow News Day, things like that. They don't show them to people that disagree with them. They are in this funneled, censored area. So that way information can't spread and become viral nowadays. So if you can make something trend on the internet, fucking make it trend, because right now the proverbial
people get mad at me because I'll hijack hashtags. I don't care.
That's bannable now. You can actually get banned.
I know. I try to be very selective, and what you do is you don't do one hashtag, you do them all, so you spread it out. So if there's some dumb reality show trending, do maybe like 5 to 10 tweets hijacking that one, and then move to the next one. Like, what's the other thing that's trending right now? And then do like 5 to 10 on that one, and just do them all. Hashtag them all. You know what I mean? Yeah. Stupid. Like all this shit that trends on Twitter is stupid. It's dumb stuff. So we have to hijack it. Like we have to try to hijack it and push a narrative. I say it all the time. Narrative control is everything.
I love this idea of like what you said, like make mirroring what they're doing, because really what they've done is like we're just taking it back. This is like the revolution, because we're coming back to owning these things, because they shouldn't have been taken from us in the first place.
No, so many people don't want them to be there. I never consent. And it's not just in global health and everything. Like listening to Stella Morris speak just a bit ago and just I feel like it's different when I listen to her speak because of her connection. It's just I picture everything like it's a lot more intense when I hear her talk about it. And I was just thinking about her saying that how long he's been in Belmarsh, and like, why does that even exist? How did we get to this place where we've given those people that much power and these systems that much power to not even make sense in what they're doing, have no accountability, have a place like Belmarsh exist, and we just let this happen? Why are these things this way? Why don't we just separate ourselves from it and start our own things or whatever we can do to we none of us consented to things to being existing in this way and to operating in this way and to causing the destruction that they're causing. Like, we can't continue to let them exist in the way they are.
That's the struggle of how to resolve it, because we all recognize that it's wrong, but like, what do you do? Like,
it's hard because they have so much power and control.
I know.
And that's why I fight so hard for Julian Assange. Like, I know some people have, like, I've talked to some people who are like, I just don't care. Like, it's really gross to me that they're like, oh, I don't care that he's being tortured to death, but they're like, you know, oh, I'm just going to move outside the system. And I'm like, well, that's cool and all, but they're going to come for you. If you try to step outside their system and we don't address the threat to people like Julian, that they're coming for you too. Like, that's coming for you too. If you allow it to happen to Julian,
like a new Amish state. Medical freedom instead of religious right. Like, that's
I wish.
Let's start a religion. I mean, religions still have some protections, so we can start a religion. I'm already a cultist. Can I just start like the Assangeist religion?
Yeah, the Assangeist. That's what you've got it in your name right there.
We already got
it. The Assangeist.
Yeah, I'm already a cult leader, so let's just turn it into a religion and we'll go start a commune somewhere. It'll be fine.
Yeah, I don't know.
But they will come for us. Eventually they'll come for us. And that's why, even if you think that you're going to be working outside the system, you should still be fighting for Julian Assange, because if they do it to him, they're going to come for you too.
Yep.
Like, that's the point I try to make with like immigration detention centers here in the United States and with prisons in general around the world. Like, there's a massive labor problem on the planet, right? Like, there's people that don't want to fill these jobs anymore, that don't want to do this, and are saying like, no, I'm not working anymore, to the point that it affects everybody, right?
Yeah.
That just means that there's less guards at prisons. Like, that just means that human liberation is more possible now than any other point in the armed history of Western society.
Oh, we're so fucked, you guys. Andrew, I just realized it's you and girls tonight.
I know.
Usually it's the reverse, and it's me and a bunch of dudes. So it's a nice little shift. I just realized that.
Well, you guys are some of my favorite people, so I appreciate you.
Oh, you're one of my favorite people too.
I'm sorry I couldn't make bitch giving, by the way.
It was fun.
Oh, I didn't make it either. I just apologized today.
Like, it was a lot of people. Let's see, Sharif. I'm not gonna remember everybody. Somebody's gonna get mad at me. It was like Sharif, Shane, Trey kept popped on for a while. Who else was there? Oh, Shonda and Oz popped in. Who else was there? Angel was there. Yeah, like a bunch of people. Like, people like popped in and out. But I liked having a lot of people. It was like a party. We went 3 hours instead of 2, but it was like a party. My throat hurt afterwards. I'm not gonna lie. 3 hours of talking is a lot.
That's funny.
And we talked a lot. There was a lot to bitch about that day. A lot had happened. That was the day Fee got banned from Twitter. That was the day like the Assange cultist stuff was coming back out. And all the bullshit drama that I had. Yeah, that was a fun day. And listen to me. I'm like, there was a bunch of drama. That was a fun day. Bitch giving was fun. Like, the bitch giving part was fun. That was a good time.
But lots to bitch about. There was
plenty of material. Yeah. There was lots of people. There was a really listen, my trolls are the dumbest trolls on Twitter. They're really dumb. They're not clever. They're really dumb.
No, you straight have like an Autobot farm pointed at you.
They're so
correct
dumb.
The record.
On bitch giving, there was like a genuinely interesting troll. He was funny. He kept giving us like threat levels. Like, we would get boosted up. Oh, well, you've talked to Jimmy Dore before. Okay, so there's another 10 points, or and he like kept giving us a threat level increase, and he was kind of funny. He ruined it towards the end by being ridiculous. But he, like, I don't ever get funny trolls ever. They're all just really dumb, and it's painful. So that was kind of fun. Like, it was a good night. It was a fun show. I had fun.
Now I'm even more disappointed that I didn't make it.
It was fun. I'm going to do another one. I like having those big, like having a lot of people. Like, having one person, it feels more like an interview. You know what I mean? And I don't want it to be interviewee. That's not what bitch is supposed to be. Bitch is literally just supposed to be like a therapy session. You know? So, like, hey, what's better than hanging out with some friends and bitching about a lot of stuff? It sounds like fun. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. And there's never a shortage of material, you guys.
One thing that I got that like one of the latest to throw me for a loop is I got, after we had, which was great when we had Assange's father and brother here, we had one of our events at the Denver Press Club. So I became a member there. And so I just got a letter about how for now at any future events, you have to show your vaccine card because of the mandate from Hancock or not Hancock. Yeah, Hancock. Sorry. But anyway, it's just, that's the mission statement is about, fighting for free press and different, it's
the mandates
like
are
people just have just like, oh, okay. Okay.
It's weird, isn't it? And I guess it's not, because it's not like we haven't seen this before in history. I mean, I don't mean to make those comparisons, but I do, because it's kind of happening again. This like walk towards legit authoritarianism.
Yep.
This doesn't end well.
No.
So to speak about authoritarianism, the school board started putting the videos back up on the YouTube channel.
What happened?
The school board stopped putting videos on the YouTube channel because
when you
I
got
was
kicked
going
out?
there talking shit.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, I mean, we've been talking about this for a long time, and like people get mad when you make those kind of comparisons. How dare you make those comparisons?
Yeah.
It's a fair comparison.
Mhm.
Yes, we're early into that process, but this doesn't end well. But
there was an early then too. Like people think about these big things that have happened throughout history, and they're only thinking of like the big part, the part that is what we learned in school, that there's like a movie about or whatever. That didn't just happen all of a sudden. There's a lead up to it where you're preparing people for that and you're getting people on board for that. That's where we are.
Yes.
Of course, it's not to the extreme part yet. Like
no.
But
it always starts somewhere, and it
Yes.
has started, and we can prevent it from getting there if we stop like denying that's what happened. That's what's happening.
Allison, have you watched Allison Morrow? Any of her?
Yeah. I had her on my show once, actually, when she and Matt Orfala got one of the times he got censored hardcore.
Nice. She had on an ethics professor, and I'm sorry if I'm forgetting this woman's name, but she was she resigned from her job, or basically was fired. Did you see this? Yes,
I didn't see that, but I read about her. I don't think I've seen it. Really worth watching.
She had her on her show, and they had an interesting discussion. I mean, and this is a professor in ethics, and full career in this, and she said that we're basically at stage 5 of genocide. If there 10 stages of genocide, we're like around stage 5, where it's the untouchable class has been fully defined. You're seeing more of the laws against them. And I mean, it's just crazy to see that before your eyes, because I'm seeing people who in all respects would be normal, except when it comes to that, like those, it's not even human people if they didn't take the shot.
Yes. Noam Chomsky said starve them. What the fuck? Noam Chomsky. Like, I know that Noam Chomsky is like not, but like you would think that he would not be somebody who would be like, yeah, let him starve. Fuck him. You know what I mean? Dude, come on. Wow. We live in a really weird time.
When they get that old.
I know. I've said for a long time now that we like shut the fuck up. Noam Chomsky, please just shut the fuck up.
Yeah, where are your friends? And just seems like such a stupid thing to lose all of your integrity over. It makes sense that people might not want, something injected in them, whatever it is.
You would think that this is somebody who would be understanding of that,
Can we get into the Operation Pelican stuff, though? So I'm excited. This is actually like it's sad stuff, but it's not like
when do we ever talk about anything happy?
Right.
Sir. When does that happen?
That's fair.
Although that's not true, because we did talk about like when Reality Winner got released, we got to talk about that.
There was good news.
Craig Murray's getting out of jail on Tuesday, so we're gonna have a party. You guys can donate to that now.
Yes.
That was a great idea, Andrew.
That was a
it's great idea.
It just happens, you know?
It was a great idea, and then really impressive instant implementation of the idea. You worked together well.
Good team.
That's me though. Like if there's a good idea, I have to do it right now. Like I get hyper focused.
That's good though, Misty.
Yeah. That's my ADHD. That's if there's like something I'm excited about, it happens right now. And don't get in my way. For real.
So this isn't new news. We've talked about this before. I updated it, like I reread the article, changed slides around and stuff. But there's been so much talk about what the CIA was trying to do against Julian and the talk of assassination, and the threat of poisoning and rendition and the shootouts that I wanted to at least at some point be able to get to this. We've been trying for a while because this puts it back to, okay, what actually happened? Because I think that those plots are important to know, and like who was actually putting that forward and how it was operating and such. But this is what actually went down and how it actually played out. And this is only 1/3 of it. This is just from the United Kingdom's perspective. But the UK government paid £8,300 in November 2018 to bring the Ecuadorian Defense Minister Oswald Baran to Britain 2 months before the planned seizure of Julian Assange from the Ecuadorian embassy in London. It can be revealed. 2 months before Jaran's visit in September 2018, the UK government had spent £12,800 facilitating a 3-day visit by Ecuadorian officials concerned with fighting corruption and money laundering in the country. The evaluation of the trip noted that it helped the UK government to build strong relationships, and that the UK has subsequently commended as a partner of choice by the President of the Republic, Lenin Moreno. 2 weeks before Julian Assange was expelled from the embassy on March 27th, 2019, Britain then Deputy National Security Advisor for Intelligence, Richard Moore, spent $4,400 on a business class flight to Ecuador, the logs show. Moore was appointed chief of MI6, Britain's external intelligence agency, just a little over a year later. 2 British-funded trips for Ecuadorian officials came as the government was ramping up its efforts to get the Ecuador to rescind the asylum it had granted Assange in 2012 to avoid the perception to avoid persecution by the U.S. government. Until now, the nature of these negotiations had remained mostly secret, and Freedom of Information Act requests relating to Assange's case and the role of the British ministers are routinely blocked. And Stefania Maruzzi actually showed us that a lot of that evidence has been destroyed as well by the British government's admission. Moreno quickly undid most of the policies of his leftist predecessor, Rafael Correa, and aligned himself with the U.S., signing deals with the International Monetary Fund and making obvious his annoyance at Assange's continued asylum in his country's embassy in London. And what this next portion, these are writings from the diary of Alan Duncan. He was the person that was the head of the UK's efforts to get Julian out of the embassy. And it's quite, like, I don't even really know how to take the fact that this has been released. It almost feels like a victory lap by a real monster, more than like someone that had a crisis of faith. But the diaries of Sir Duncan, do you want to read this one, Misty?
I can.
Because I need to drink some water. I'm like dying.
The diaries of Sir Alan Duncan, who led the Assange negotiations as UK Minister for the Americas, shed light on the pressure Britain brought to bear on Ecuador after the new government of Lenin Moreno assumed power in May 2017. In 2016, Duncan had met Correa's Foreign Minister Guillaume Long, who was still committed to upholding Assange's right to asylum, and exasperated Duncan lamented in his diaries that Long defends the supposed human rights of Julian Assange. How dare he? By March 2018, with the Moreno administration in place, Duncan was more hopeful and had a one-on-one meeting with Prime Minister Theresa May, where he updated her on Ecuador and Assange. She might want to butter up President Moreno, he wrote. 2 weeks later, he added, "I think I'm nearly there with Ecuador to get Julian Assange out of the London embassy. It's taken months of delicate negotiations, but nearly.
And this guy's language, like his personal writings and his personal diary that he released are, I don't know, like it's gross. Like
It is
the way
gross.
he, like strokes himself as he's writing these
Yeah,
words.
what did he say? I'm like he was giving himself some high praise, like dancing around like he's a turd.
Yeah.
He's a turd. 6 months later, in September 2018, Duncan had a call with Ecuador's new foreign minister, Jose Valenda. Is that right? Valenda? My screen's kind of fuzzy.
Valencia.
Valencia. Okay.
So hold
it
on,
looks like a
pause,
D.
because I like doing this. Right? Look at this guy's name. Valencia, right?
Oh.
Like I just like to point that out because you have like that one. What the fuck was her name? Like, the lady that took the kids to the press conference randomly.
Huh?
There was some like famous person whose name is like CIA-ra. That's her name.
Oh,
Syra or
Ciara.
something. Yeah.
Oh, the man or the vaccine thing. Yeah, the singer.
Yeah. And
Big
I'm like,
Bird
her
and
name is
Ciara. That's who I'm taking
CIA-ra.
medical advice from. Yeah.
Like,
You're ridiculous,
come on.
Andrew.
Like,
All right.
come
All right. Simmer down, sir. Okay, so we both want Assange out of the embassy, he wrote, but the Ecuador government won't quite yet take the necessary final step for fear of the domestic reaction. In the background, negotiations were clearly taking place, which are not mentioned in Duncan's diaries. In October 2018, Duncan noted, the Assange issue is progressing. Our channels into Ecuador are paving the way to a solution. Then on 8 January 2019, Duncan wrote, annoyingly, Assange's forcible exit from the Ecuadorian embassy has been delayed. Ecuador's government lawyers are now saying that it requires a presidential decree, which will take at least a week or two. Later on that day, Duncan went to the House of Commons to meet the new Ecuadorian ambassador, Jaime Marchán Romero, I'm guessing. I'm going to say I got that pretty close. His principal mission is to get Assange out of the embassy. It has taken 6 years. And although he had been aiming for tomorrow, as I just learned, it's going to take longer, a tad frustrating, but we'll get there, Duncan wrote. Duncan's annoyance that Ecuador had delayed expelling Assange increased the following month when he wrote internal meeting on Ecuador, who have gone quiet on pushing Assange out of the embassy, despite saying it was going to happen on 9 January. He added, it looks as though their foreign minister had said it would happen without explicitly telling the president. Assange is not mentally stable. So they've known for a very long time that he's not mentally stable. He has been defecating in waste paper bins. It is a disgusting situation. I insist we lay a clear paper trail tracking our constant demands that he be evicted. Soon after, he noted Ecuador's ambassador is determined to get Assange out of his embassy, but President Moreno requires a final push in order to be persuaded to press the button. And then after another meeting with the ambassador a fortnight later, Duncan noted, we are so nearly there in getting Assange checked out of the embassy. So this was like something that they were working on for a very long time. Ecuador knew that they were going to get shit upon for doing it because they removed his citizenship with no due process. They just bounced him from having Ecuadorian citizenship, which he had been granted sometime before that. So they knew that they were going to take heat domestically for doing that because they have a constitution as well, and it goes against everything that they stand for. So it took some cajoling. It took some finessing for the US and the UK to convince them to let them basically kidnap Julian Assange.
and just the way he talks about it, he's like, goddamn, like we can't torture this fucking guy even more.
So annoying.
Right?
Oh, so annoying, right?
And this is at the same time, right, mind you, just so that way the Russiagate plot doesn't get in the way of all of these CIA talks, right, where they're plotting, what if he escapes? What's he planning to do? Where's he planning to go? Are the Russians going to scoop him up? Are we going to blow out the tires on this airplane?
We're going to have a shootout in the streets of London.
It's literally the same time that they're trying to get him evicted.
Yeah. Yeah, all this, that's a good point. All of this is going on at the exact same time that the CIA is plotting to murder him.
And that's the part that I feel like gets really lost in Julian's story.
Well, because they were working all angles.
Yeah, it takes the
all the
heat
time
off of the International Monetary Fund. It takes the heat off of UC Global even. And the use of a private security contractor to target a journalist in this way. Because like God knows what kind of contracts they have for Project Veritas. And
not just him. Everybody that came to visit him, other journalists, his doctors, his lawyers, everybody was spied on. They had their electronic devices taken and cloned. They had their paperwork gone through and copied. They were followed. They were spied on inside the embassy. Their conversations with Julian Assange were all spied on. So it's not just the targeting of Julian Assange. How many people were caught in that sphere surveillance and how many people were being spied on just because they had connections to him or had spoken to him or interviewed him or whatever. So this is like, it's a lot more, like I always say, it's so much bigger than just Assange. Yes, he is important. His life is important. Like, he's worth fighting for. And the human rights violations he's had to endure are worth fighting against. But it's so much bigger than just that, you know? All right. Are we ready? You want me to read more?
I can keep reading if you want.
Okay. It's up to you. Whatever.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you want to, I'm not going to say no, but I don't mind.
I know you hate reading, so I can do it.
You could switch off just every other word.
Well,
Right, I just make up words as I go.
That would get messy. Okay. On 11 April 2019, the day Assange was finally seized by UK police, he wrote, "Suddenly it's game on. I'm told Assange will be sprung from the Ecuadorian embassy today, so I drop everything and head to the operations room at the top of the Foreign Office. Operation Pelican is a go, suitably assisted by one official wearing a pelican motif tie." They get ties. It's so gross. Like,
that is so gross.
And that's not even the worst part.
No,
it's
it's not.
Even worse.
Here we go. In the operation room, Duncan watched a live feed when at 10 a.m. plainclothes policemen entered the embassy. We were expecting Assange to be brought out very soon after their arrival, but text to the ops room revealed he had caused a bit of a commotion and had been screaming and bawling while edging towards the ambassador's office, at which point he was forcibly restrained. He continued. Then, with military precision, 6 police officers marched up to line up each side of the entrance steps to form a protective corridor through which Assange was bundled out at about 10:20 a.m. Duncan concluded, "So job done at last." And we take a commemorative photo, of Team Pelican. It had taken many months of patient diplomatic negotiation, and in the end went off without a hitch. I do millions of interviews trying to keep the smirk off my face. I would like to, never mind. I'm not going to say it out loud because the FBI will visit me. 2 days after Assange's eviction on 13 April, Duncan noted he had put Daily Mail journalist Simon Walters in touch with Ambassador Marchand, thus giving the Daily Mail their scoop against the fetid Assange hovel. The pictures of his living conditions were beyond repulsive. 10 days later, Duncan met with Hugo Shorter, head of the Foreign Office's Americas division. "We are both still basking in the successful release of Julian Assange," he noted. Basking! These fuckers. Then in mid-June 2019, with Assange having been incarcerated in Belmarsh Maximum Security Prison for 2 months, Duncan put on a party. "Straight to drinks in my office for all of Operation Pelican team, those who worked on the removal of Julian Assange from the Ecuadorian embassy," he wrote. "I gave them each a signed photo, which we took in the ops room on the day with a caption saying, 'Julian Assange Special Brexit Team, 11 April 2019.
That is fucking gross.
Like, I'm surprised they didn't get like matching tattoos or.
No, that's the next slide.
They're probably dead.
little pelicans on there.
Yeah.
On their arms.
Oh, they're so gross. That's so gross.
Yeah.
These people. All right. Later on that month, Duncan went on an official trip to Quito, Ecuador's capital city, for bilateral meetings with President Moreno. According to the government records, Duncan's diary is empty for these days when he was in Ecuador. But the final reference to Assange in his diary comes 2 weeks later on July 15th, 2019, when he is in Ecuador again for another meeting with President Moreno. Visiting him to say thank you is an essential conclusion to the Assange episode, and he exudes goodwill and warmth. He loves the UK, and I gave him a beautiful porcelain plate from the Buckingham Palace gift shop. Job done, he wrote. You got a fucking plate from the gift shop, you absolute...
Right? Like that. Like, thanks for destroying press freedom. Here's your
a plate.
Here's your plate. Like, so the story.
Well, he did get $4.2 billion too. Let's
right?
not forget
so
that.
Ecuador has accepted the loans from the International Monetary Fund, including the one that they got from Julian of $4.2 billion, right?
Yeah.
So they impose extreme austerity, repeal all of the left-wing measures of Lenin Correa, almost all of them. And the country literally falls into revolution. Lenin Moreno is forced out of the country. And I don't know the update of the story right now. I want to speak to Jose
I haven't been
Riviera
following it, yeah.
To like
There's
get
too
a
much going
better
on.
update.
Yeah.
But literally the last I knew, fucking Lenin Moreno was living on some military island and had signed over control of the country to his vice president because it had fallen to revolution.
You don't make a deal with the
good.
devil.
So for anyone who
Yeah.
doesn't have
Good.
hope, there's still revolution.
That's
Like,
exactly what he deserves. Good.
Yeah.
I mean, what a douche. He
So
pretended
I
to
don't
be
know what's
Korea's
happening
friend,
now.
too.
That was like maybe like 6, 8, 9 months ago. But
Yeah, he pretended to be one of the good guys, too.
Yeah.
And he was not. It didn't take him long at all you literally sold a human being. I mean, you sold
For
Julian
$4.2
Assange
billion.
for $4.2 billion.
And a plate.
And a
And a
plate.
plate.
That's
And a
true. That's
plate.
fair.
The
That plate really
commemorative
was
plate.
the deciding factor. Who
It's now
doesn't
the
want a
one
plate
plate
from
that he
the
on
the
island.
Palace gift shop? I mean, I want one. Shit. I'd sell my
Right,
mom
not
for
even
a
like
plate
an
from the
actual
gift shop.
special plate. Like that's the best part. It's not like it was like the Queen's beloved family heirloom plate. He's like,
the
here's
gift
some
shop.
trash
Gift
from
shop
the gift shop, you fucking commoner. Like, thanks for doing my
They probably
work.
sell like, you know, I don't know, a couple thousand, like some thousands of them every
Right,
year.
right, just
You know what I
some made
mean?
in China plate.
Yeah,
commemorating
yeah.
You can probably buy it online and it was made in China.
Yes. Yeah. And it's probably got like a really weird, ugly picture of the palace or something on it or something stupid.
Mhm.
A plate, dude.
Rubs
Fuck
off if you
you.
wash it.
Right.
I hope you drop it. I hope you break it. I hope it shatters into a million pieces.
I want that plate.
Yeah.
You'll have to find a shard of it
Because
because
like that
it's
like
broken.
I would like to have one just so I can be like, look, I have a plate
Right.
too, dude. You could have just got a
Right.
plate. I would have bought you a plate, homie.
Can we
I'd have bought you a plate.
hold on? I might buy you one for Christmas.
Are you really looking up how much there? Because I probably will buy one. That's probably gonna be a thing that happens. If it was a shirt, forget it. I'd have already bought one. You guys know.
Mhm.
That would
I
be
have a
that would be
problem.
some shit like here's your shirt. Like
I have a problem, you guys. I'm not kidding. I buy too many shirts. It's a thing. It's a problem. I have a lot of shirts. I just ordered 2 from Food Not Bombs. Keith McHenry, he's an enabler. That fucker, he's an enabler. He DM'd me and it's like, hey, Food Not Bombs has t-shirts. And I'm like, fuck you. And I immediately went to find the link and I bought 2 shirts.
hold on, pull up my
If you have
screen
shirts,
share
I
real
will
quick.
probably buy one. But don't send them to me because I will probably buy
I wonder if they have a shirt with a picture of the plate. Maybe that would actually be a better present for.
Hold on,
For
pull up my
Misty, a
screen
shirt
share.
with a
I do
picture
love a
of the
shirt, you
plate.
guys. If you ever do want to get me a present, a shirt is a very good option. I do love a shirt.
I got the plates up. We gotta
Oh.
pick out which plate this guy
Oh.
got.
Okay. Well, he probably got like a fairly fancy one. I can't read it though.
Oh my gosh, this is
So
hilarious.
this one is the Chelsea porcelain dinner plate.
Which one do you guys think he got?
Great
Does it say anything
exhibition.
when you click on them? Is
Photo
there like
board.
Like, is there a
a
description?
I
a
can
description?
open them.
Yeah.
Open one. Let's just see what it says.
We need to investigate and see if we can figure
Can we
Probably
find
people
out?
like
Can somebody like write an email and
1995
ask?
plate.
I want to know like specifically which one he got.
Right. Do a
I
freedom
bet it's
of
the one with the
information act
crown. I bet it's the one with the
request for
crown.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It's the one with
they
the
have
crown,
to
I
let
bet
us know.
you. Or is there one with like a seal? Do they have a seal? Yeah,
But
that
it's
thing.
in this
one's
one.
a seal
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. Yep, I bet that's
When
it.
entertaining guests, serve dinner on an exquisite coat of arms dinner plate, with the coat of arms of George King IV and King William IV at the center of this plate. The surrounding design incorporates 22-karat gold and delicate blush
Ooh.
pink roses to create a magnificent and impressive piece. This dinner plate is inspired by a beautiful hand-painted plate found in the Royal China Pantry, Buckingham Palace.
Oh wow.
You guys,
get
it's a
your-
replica of an actual plate in
This
the
is,
palace.
if I had to give him one, I'd give him this one.
Yeah. Oh, is that a unicorn? You guys,
That
a
is a
lion and
unicorn.
a unicorn.
That is.
Andrew, I would take that for Christmas. I'm
It's
not
a
gonna lie.
unicorn and
There's a whole set.
Oh, very fancy. That's like some tea time shit right
I
there.
like how it's zooming in slowly.
Mhm.
Good
Very
job.
dramatic. We need some royal music.
Yeah.
Oh goodness. I need a plate. You guys. I really do need a plate. I'm gonna tell my husband. I need plates. The royal plates from the gift shop.
Right?
I can
I'm
be
gonna order
fancy
you
like
one.
Moreno. Way to go, dude.
My mom would actually probably like that. Like that would probably be a good Christmas present.
I might
As
buy
fucked up
myself
as
one.
that
My
is.
birthday's also in January, so
Oh.
There we go. It might it might have to go through customs. It's gonna be on one of the like 200,000 ships that they have no one left to unload because all
Right.
the vaccinated died.
It'll probably take a
Oh, that's
while.
true. That's
Yeah.
true.
It'll
Might
take a
have to
while
wait
get
for
here.
next year for that gift.
Order it now. It might get here next year. We'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Right after Christmas this year, we're gonna start seeing advertisements for Christmas next
Right,
year.
all my
So we need to
Twitter
order
ads are
already.
gonna be fucking Christmas plates now.
Yeah. I remember when they were like October 1st. They're like, you better start ordering your Christmas stuff. Fuck you, jerks. Ugh.
I
All right,
think we're good.
Are we?
Wrap it up early.
We can. I'm tired. I'm not gonna lie. I'm tired. Oh,
It's getting dark so early.
and
it
this
feels
time of
so
year is just
late,
like,
and it's not.
Well, it's snowing here.
yeah,
Oh, is it?
yes.
No, the other day here, but not much still. We haven't got
Yeah,
it.
it's not it's not sticking a lot, but it snows, and then there's like a slight covering or whatever when you wake up in the morning, and I hate winter, you guys. Winter makes me angry. I'm not gonna lie. Winter makes me angry.
I love snow.
I hate it. I hate it. I like snow like once. Like if I could get snow once a year, and I only really want to experience it, like I want like a really heavy snow, like it's not storm, but you know what I mean, where it snows like 3 or 4 inches in a few hours, and then I'll hang out for like 6 hours, and then I'm done. If it could just disappear after that, and like once it starts getting slushy and muddy and it's all
But then it snows
and
again,
wet,
and it covers it.
yeah, no, I just need them one time a year, and then
have you met
good.
climate change?
Yeah, I don't like winter at all.
Doesn't solve that problem.
Winter makes me angry. Fun fact, it really does makes me angry. Every year I have like seasonal, what do they call it? Seasonal affective disorder or whatever.
Yeah, sad.
Yeah.
Sad.
Yeah.
Good.
I
I have lights
hate
to burn
winter.
out on my car, so when it gets dark out earlier, I have to drive with my highs on.
Yeah.
Oh no.
One of those lights, Misty.
Oh, the vitamin D lights or whatever, those.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I could try that. But it's still like I still get pissed off because I hate wearing coats. I hate being cold. Being cold is painful. I don't like it. I don't like when you go outside and literally the air hurts your face. And every time I'm like, why do I live somewhere where the air hurts my face? You know what I mean? Why do I do that to myself? But yeah, I need to move. I need to move. I would be a much happier person if I were in a warmer climate. I definitely would be a much happier person. I'm miserable from like November to March. I hate it. Hate it.
Well, you're gonna be happier this year because you're gonna get a plate, and that'll fix.
Plates really do. Plates fix everything, especially gift shop plates. Are you joking?
Yeah. So this is gonna be a good winter.
Yeah, the
I'm
best
sending you
winter
that on
ever. The best winter ever. You're sending me what? The link?
The link to the plates.
I will totally be buying a plate. My little present to
I'll put it
myself.
in the chat if you're interested in owning your own dinner plate.
Your very own gift shop, Palace gift shop, Moreno plate.
But I recommend following the other link and supporting Craig Murray.
Yeah.
Yes,
if you have money
please.
for a British dinner plate, please donate it to Craig Murray.
Just donate it to Craig Murray. Yeah. That was a really good idea, Andrew. I'm proud of you.
Thanks.
I'm going to take credit for it.
No, please do.
No,
I mean, it does have your name on it. It says that you're organizing.
I did start the GoFundMe, so I should
like
give
it.
you credit in the description because it
I
is
like
a
it.
really
Try to
good
get
idea.
Jimmy and shit to tweet it out. That would be really cool.
Oh, that's true. I'll send it to him.
To bring
I'll
some
send it to him.
attention to it.
I'll DM him.
That'd
He'll
be
post it. He'll tweet it. I bet he will.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Cool. I wish he would have Craig Murray on too once he gets out of jail. Maybe we can make that
I
happen.
gotta
I think
connect
that'd be
with
great.
Deepa to see if I can where the live stream's gonna be because there's gonna be one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have
Yeah,
to
he's
set
gonna
it
give a
up weird
speech, I
'cause
guess.
My work computer, I start work at like 7:30 in the morning. And that's
Is it
probably
hard to
like-
set up? Like figure out? Okay.
Literally for your setup, all it would be
Pushing
is
buttons? 'Cause
screen
I can do
sharing
that.
with audio.
Okay.
You would just screen share with audio into this and just hit go live, and it's the same exact thing.
Okay. I can do that probably.
Hell yeah.
You can.
Yeah. I'm like a tech genius now. I don't know if you guys know.
You are. You're basically Sleepy Josh. Like
I
I'm
am.
about-
Watch
if you're
out,
lucky,
Sleepy
we do our
Josh.
website.
Yeah. Watch out, Sleepy Josh. I'm coming to take over. I tweeted at him the other day because it was the first time I did YouTube and Rockfin at the same time. Which is really just like pushing 3 more buttons, but I get really nervous about it. And so I tweeted at him. I'm like, I just want to let everybody know I did a technology. I did it, Sleepy Josh. He gets really excited about it too, though. He likes to cheer on my stupidity. So 'cause I'm really bad at this shit.
You gotta take the wins where you get them.
Yeah, I'll make them up. I'll invent wins, fams. You guys know I will invent wins. I like when those ones that I invent, though, are proven to be right. Like, remember, for the longest time, I was like, I'm taking credit for Ryan Knight covering Julian Assange. And then he asked me to come on a show, and he told me that I get credit for him covering Julian Assange. And I'm like, yes. Confirmed, bitches. It's a good time. Anyway, all right, we can wrap it up, Andrew. I'm done being ridiculous now, I think. So,
No.
Emma, do you want to tell everybody
Right.
where they can find you, where they can find the World Council on Health? Is that right?
Sure.
And,
World
and your
Council
awesome photo work,
for
and
Health.
if you have any shops that they're in. where
They're
people can
not.
maybe find pictures.
I can
of-
put your I'll put your website up again.
Cool. Yeah, they're not in any shops because it's like weird that it's like event and protest. But I don't know what to like do with it. But I like
Right.
I like that Magnus did a thing with one
Mhm.
picture, a picture of you.
I thought that's cool.
That was really cool.
I have a shirt
Definitely.
coming, Andy. Andrew, I do have a shirt coming.
Do you
Oh,
really?
really?
Your
You have a
face on
shirt
it.
coming? Really? Shocked.
Two.
I had to like not buy more. You know what I mean? I had to
I
like.
have like a little bit of a shirt thing. I think it's not as much as your shirt thing, but I did get that shirt immediately because it was like, this is a great like.
I
combination
ordered
of
mine like
things.
forever ago, and it
Mhm.
will not let me post anything for some reason. It says having trouble connecting. Fuck
Oh.
you! I have good internet now, bitches.
You should send Magnus the pictures of you in the shirt to use as a model on the website, and then
Yeah.
like twist the universe.
That does kind of
Yeah,
fuck you.
yeah.
You need a picture of you wearing a shirt.
We should actually
Or
take
is
a
that
picture
weird?
of Magnus and me and you wearing the shirt all
like it.
together, and that would
That
like
gives us an excuse to all assemble.
Be like 3 pieces of Voltron.
I want a shirt.
I know, right? You can also get cool posters. If anybody wants to check out Magnus's posters, it's at conspiracy.com.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool posters. There's a bunch of cool stuff on there. Like he's done a lot of really cool edits, but obviously I had to get an Assange something. I don't remember the
that's a
other
good
shirt I
one.
have. I have an Andrew one, and then the older lady that's sitting down. I forget what it says, revolt or something like that. She's at a protest, and there's like a line of cops, and it's like an older lady, and she's just sitting there like,
yeah.
"Fuck you." Yeah.
Yeah.
I
That's
had
a
to
good
get
one
that.
too.
Yeah, I like that lady. I would like to be her friend.
You should be.
I feel like we would be good friends.
Mhm.
Okay, so yeah, I'm trying to post Emma's website. It's not working though. So maybe Andrew, can you do that? Oh wait,
Oh,
no,
it just posted
it just okay.
twice.
It's probably gonna post
Okay.
again because I'm not very patient, so I tried it 3 times.
Okay. So yeah, that's my website for like photojournalism, and so there's photos of you guys up there from some stuff,
Yeah.
and if you're cool like Magnus, you can grab a photo from there and turn it into something, because all that stuff just sits there, and it's like I love taking photos of things like that. That's my favorite, like protests, and that is like my favorite subject. But then they're just there. I don't always know what to do with them. So it's nice when people go there and look at them, because then I at least feel like something is happening. And then there's the World Council for Health that Misty and I talked about a lot earlier. That's worldcouncilforhealth.org, which I recommend everybody check out. And you can also find it on Telegram. There's a link on the page to Telegram up in the right-hand corner.
And every Monday they do a live stream. Check
Yes. Yeah. In the spirit of transparency, like a lot of other people aren't transparent and edit their website and don't tell anybody and don't have accountability for all that kind of stuff. World Council for Health is not that way. Every Monday, a bunch of the steering committee and other people meet together for a general assembly meeting, and it's live streamed on the website, so you can see what everybody's talking about and learn from some really, really smart people about some really cool things. And some of it is pandemic related, but there's also other topics that come up too, trying not to focus just on that, even though that's what is on everybody's mind right now. But in terms of public health, that is not the only only issue. Yeah, so those things. And then I am by my elf on Twitter. If anybody likes Twitter, that's about it.
Nobody likes Twitter. People use Twitter.
Yeah.
I don't think most people like Twitter.
I'll go. My name is Kendra Christian, and you can follow our Denver group, Denver Action to Free Assange, at DNV Free JA on Twitter. And we also have Facebook, Denver Free Assange. And Misty, Andrew, it's so good to see you guys. I miss you guys when I don't see you.
I know.
Nice to meet you. I think I maybe did meet you once before in DC at one of our events. So
It's hard.
Really familiar. And I'm positive. I'm good with faces, not so great with names, but I'm like,
Me too.
so anyway, but good to see you guys.
All right. It's not letting me, like, sometimes it's letting me post stuff in the chat and sometimes it's not. So I'm sorry if stuff's not coming through, but whatever.
It's probably because I have Restream going on too. It's not connected.
Oh, okay.
It
It keeps saying, like, it let me do like Emma's Twitter and World Council for Health and all that stuff, but then I try to do the Denver Twitter and it says having trouble connecting. Please check your internet connection.
Maybe somebody that's watching can put it in there.
So, like, these guys are putting in too many links.
Yeah, if you're not a mod, like if one of the mods could maybe do it.
We don't have the Glory Jones today. Shout out to Glory Jones. She's awesome.
I love Glory. I love Glory. I think my kid's turning into Glory actually. Which is fine.
Oh, hey, that's great.
Parenting win.
Yeah, is that how your kids are?
No. So she's a big weeb now. She's like super into anime. So I have to I regularly have to ask, not regularly, but I've had to ask Glory Jones on multiple occasions about different animes and if it's suitable for my kid's age group and what's it about and all that stuff. So Glory's helping with that because I don't know anything about anime. And now my kid is playing basketball and Glory plays basketball. So yeah, I think if my kid is half as informed at 21 as Glory Jones is, then I fucking win parenting, I think. So she may be now though, as much shit as she has to listen to, like living with me. My kids hear a lot, you know.
We should get all of our kids together sometime.
Yeah, that would be
and just
fun.
like put them in a room, but then like listen.
We should get them all together once they're a certain age and watch loose change with them.
Yeah.
And be like, this is how we got here.
They wouldn't.
It'd be like a chicken pox party, but for like snapping people out of cognitive dissonance.
I don't know. I feel like they would be like, yeah, like they've
Annoyed?
they've absorbed all this stuff from us already.
Yeah.
That they'd be like,
okay,
duh.
I know. My kid. Yeah, Mom, I lived it. Like,
yeah.
I like every Friday night you were on a show and then you would talk about Julian Assange all the time. And you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that they care. Most kids don't care but it would be cool to get our kids together and just like hang out, like have like a family picnic. Mine are 13 and 11.
Okay. I have 10, almost 11 and 8. So yeah, we should have a picnic.
I think that would be fun. Next time we have an event like where everybody's gathering in one place, we should have like a family day. I think
it just can't be in Washington D.C. because that's the place that has like the highest rate per capita of missing children. So
that's
let's not.
Fair.
Yeah, that would have to not be in DC.
That's fair. Yeah.
That would be bad.
All right. Well, and definitely not in a national park either, because there's a lot of people that go missing in national parks. Freaks me out, you guys. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that.
I take my kids to national parks.
Do you?
A lot.
Have you never
and
heard
I've
of this?
taken them to DC quite a few times too.
Well, I feel like if you wanted to make someone go missing,
check out Missing 411. It's like a whole series on people that go missing from, and it's like really suspicious circumstances. Like people literally just seem to vanish. Like they're on like hunting trips with friends and they're not that far away from their friends, and then all of a sudden they're just gone. It's like, where the fuck did this person go? So there's seriously, it's like, because I'm really into true crime and it's kind of like associated. It's really creepy. There's a lot of people that go missing in national parks. A lot.
Okay, so we won't meet there. We won't meet in DC. Okay,
we can meet wherever.
I think there's some options still. I think
we still have some options. That's true.
I think
fair.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, anyway, so I'm Misty. I'm an Assangeist, queen of the Assangists. You can find me on Twitter at Sarcasm Stardust if you'd like to join my cult. I'm taking applications. We're a very accepting cult. We accept all people. You just have to worship at the altar of press freedom. That's it. That's the only rule. And there's probably going to be dance moves. We're going to figure that out later. Maybe a handshake.
And nice plates.
Yeah. Every year you will get a commemorative plate. So, and like for like your 5-year, you'll get like a super fancy plate, and for your 10-year, you'll get like a gold plated plate.
I'm in.
You'll have different plates. It'll be fun. It'll be a good time. So you'll have collectibles. There'll be collectibles and dance moves
and t-shirts.
And definitely. Are you kidding? Definitely t-shirts. There will be t-shirts. Lots of them. So not like a boring uniform. You'll have some options, but mostly t-shirts. It's gonna be the best cult ever, really. David Crush has not got shit on me. So that's a sentence I never thought I would say. Anyway, so I have another show called Facts on the Ground. Emma was just on it today at 1:00. You can check that out. It's already up. That went weird. Okay. And we just had an amazing panel. Seriously, I still can't believe I got to participate in it. Ryan Christian, Whitney Webb, and Corey Morningstar, and like Max Blumenthal, and just like a bunch of really cool people that I had no business talking to. Did like an awesome panel talking about how to kind of resist the new normal that we're being forced into, which was amazing. You should check it out. I can't believe it's still up on YouTube, but it is on Rockman as well. And then let's see, I have Bitch every Wednesday at 7 p.m. We just did Bitch Giving this past week, which was a lot of fun. I don't know who's coming on this week because I never planned anything. So it'll be like a last minute surprise. I'll probably start asking people this weekend. But yeah, it's at 7 on Wednesdays. And then donate to the Craig Murray. I'll post it again. The Craig Murray GoFundMe. He gets out on Tuesday, so we have about a week. So let's see how much we can raise for him in celebration of his release from jail. That will be good. That will be good fun.
I got an idea, but I'll talk about it off camera.
Okay.
So
go.
My name's Andrew. You can find me on Twitter at Andrew Zigman. You can find us on Twitter at action_4 Assange. Just thank you. Thank you for Derrick for joining, Magnus for hopping in, you guys for hanging out. And just keep fighting. That's it.
All right. That's it, he says.